Good morning, everybody. Myself, Dr. Meenakshi Mangar, Associate Professor, Department of Zoology, Government College, Kota. The topic that we will discuss today is locomotion and osmoregulation in protozoa. Locomotory organs in protozoa include pseudopodia, flagella, cilia, and pellicular contractile structures. Pseudopodia are false feet and are temporary structures formed by the streaming flow of cytoplasm. Sarcodina move with these structures. On the basis of form and structure, pseudopodia are of the following types: lobopodia, filopodia, reticulopodia, and exopodia. Lobopodia are lobe-like, pseudopodia with broad and rounded ends as in amoeba. These are composed of both ectoplasm as well as endoplasm. Lobopodia move by pressure flow mechanism. Filopodia are more or less filamentous pseudopodia, usually tapering from base to the pointed tip, as in Euglypha. Unlike lobopodia, filopodia are composed of ectoplasm only. Sometimes they may branch and form simple or complex networks. Reticulopodia are also filamentous. Filaments are branched and interconnected profusely to form a network. This type occurs in foraminiferans. Reticulopodia display two-way flow of cytoplasm. Exopodia are more or less straight pseudopodia radiating from the surface of the body, each exopodia containing a central axis rod which is covered by granular and adhesive cytoplasm. Like reticulopodia, exopodia also display two-way flow of cytoplasm. Exopodia are characteristic of heliozoans such as Actinosphaerium and Actinophris. Another type of locomotory organ found in protozoa is flagella. Flagella are the locomotory organs of flagellate protozoans like Euglena, Trypanosoma, etc. These are thread-like projections on the cell surface. A typical flagellum consists of an elongated stiff axial filament, the exoneme, enclosed by an outer sheath. In exoneme, 9 longitudinal peripheral paired fibers form a cylinder, which surround the 2 central longitudinal fibers enclosed by a membranous inner sheath. Each of the peripheral pair bears a double row of short arms. Exonemes arise from a basal granule, the blepharoplast or kinetosome. Mostly it is a cylindrical body formed by the bases of peripheral fibers. Blepharoplasts are derived from centrioles as the two structures are homologous. Fibers of exoneme remain embedded in a fluid matrix in between the outer ring of peripheral fibers and inner ring of central fibers. Mostly occur 9 accessory fibers. In certain groups of Mastigophora are found flagellar appendages or mastigonemes extending laterally from the outer sheath. Number and arrangement of flagella vary in Mastigophora from 1 to 8 or more. Free-living species have usually 1 or 2, while in parasitic species the number ranges from 1 to many. Next type of locomotory organ found in protozoa is cilia. Cilia are characteristic of group Ciliata. They resemble flagella in their basic structure. These are highly vibratile small ectoplasmic processes. Electron microscope reveals the presence of an external membranous sheath continuous with plasma membrane of cell surface and enclosing the fluid matrix. Running along the entire length of body of cilium are 9 paired peripheral fibers and 2 central fibers, all embedded in a structureless matrix. Central fibers are enclosed within a delicate sheath. In between the outer and inner fiber rings are present 9 spoke-like radial lamellae. In addition to these, one subfiber or microfiber of each peripheral pair bears a double row of short projections called arms, all pointing in the same direction. Each cilium arises from a thickened structure, the basal granule, basal body or blepharoplast. Basal granules are centrioles or their derivatives. Basal granules show 9 peripheral subfiber triplets, each disposed in a twist-like fashion. In many species, cilia become fused variously, forming compound organelles, such as undulating membranes, like in Pleuronema, membranale in Vorticella, and cirri in Euploids. Pellicular contractile structures are found in many protozoa in the pellicle or ectoplasm and are called as myonemes. These may be in the form of ridges or grooves. Example, euglena, or contractile myofibrils like in larger ciliates, or microtubules, example, trypanosoma. Methods of locomotion. Basically, there are 4 known methods by which protozoa move: amoeboid movement, flagellar movement, ciliary movement, and metabolic movement. Speed of locomotion varies from 0.2 mu to 3 mu per second in amoeboid forms. Amoeboid movement is characteristic of all Sarcodina and certain Mastigophora and Sporozoa. It consists in the form of pseudopodia by the streaming flow of cytoplasm in the direction of movement. Locomotion by pseudopodia is possible only over a surface. The most convincing theory for pseudopodia formation is that it depends upon active contraction of the ectoplasmic tube, that is the plasma gel, at the posterior end of the body. This leads the ectoplasm, that is the plasma sol, to flow forward into the expanding pseudopodium. This process involves continuous solation at the posterior end and gelation at the anterior end. This is also called the sol gel or change of viscosity theory. Flagellar movement is characteristic of Mastigophora, which bear one or more flagella. The flagella need liquid medium for movement or locomotion. 3 different types of flagellar movement are known. First is the paddle stroke. This is a common movement of a flagellum in sideways lash, consisting of an effective downstroke with flagellum held out rigidly and a relaxed recovery stroke in which flagellum strongly curved is brought forward again. As a result, the animal moves forward, gyrates, and is also caused to rotate on its longitudinal axis. Undulating motion. Wave-like undulations in flagellum, when proceed from tip to base, pull the animal forward. Backward movement is caused when undulations pass from base to tip. When such undulations are spiral, they cause the organism to rotate in opposite direction. Simple conical gyration is a spiral turning of flagellum like a screw. This exerts propelling action, pulling the animal forward through water with a spiral rotation as well as gyration, that is revolving in circles around the axis of movement. The mechanism producing flagellar beat is not exactly known. It is believed that some or all of the axonemal fibers are involved. According to the sliding tubule theory of flagellar movement, adjacent doublets slide past each other, causing the entire flagellum or cilium to bend. Cross bridges are formed and energy utilized for the process is supplied by adenosine triphosphate. Ciliary movement appears to in most of the ciliates, and it uh, shows the animal to move in a spiral path, rotating on their axis as they go. Spiral movement is due to in opposite direction on the two sides of the pseudopodial filaments. Oblique strokes of all body cilia working together and striking in the same direction. Coordination of ciliary movement is due to the fact that basal bodies of all cilia are linked by kinetodesmata. Cilia also need liquid medium for their movements. Large ciliates are the swiftest swimmers, and the champion of them may be named Paramecium caudatum. Ciliary action resembles the swing of a pendulum, except that it is more rapid in one direction. Backward and forward vibrations produce a paddle stroke effect. Backward effective stroke is more active, during which movement is brought about, while forward recovery stroke produces no significant movement. While moving, the succession of beats are coordinated in the well-known pattern of metachronal rhythm, conventionally compared to the passage of wind over a field of wheat. Ciliary locomotion has been discussed at length. As regards the essential mechanism of ciliary movement, little definite can be said. The evidences strongly suggest that ciliary movement is based on contraction of peripheral fibers. Metabolic movement is typical of certain flagellates like Euglena and most sporozoans at certain stages of their life cycles. Such organisms are seen to show gliding or wriggling or peristaltic movement. Contractile myonemes or microtubules present in their pellicle walls are responsible for this type of movement. Movements of this kind are usually also referred to as gregarine movements, since they are characteristic exhibited by most gregarines. Contractile vacuoles and osmoregulation in protozoa. Contractile vacuoles are pulsating organelles found in freshwater Sarcodina, Mastigophora and Ciliata. They also occur in marine ciliates. They are altogether absent in parasitic forms of the protozoan classes, except Ciliata, where they occur frequently. In amoeba, the contractile vacuole is in its simplest form, being a spherical vesicle bounded by a limiting membrane of about 0.5 microns in thickness. It is surrounded by a circlet of mitochondria which furnish energy for its pulsating activity. It is thought to be a temporary structure formed by the fusion of numerous small accessory or feeder vacuoles. In protozoans with a more defined body form like Euglena, the contractile vacuole has a fixed position. Formation of main vacuole is contributed by a few accessory vacuoles. Sporozoans have no contractile vacuoles. Ciliates, both marine and freshwater, have contractile vacuoles of more advanced type. Paramecium has two vacuoles, one located at the anterior end and other at the posterior end of the body. The main larger vacuole in Paramecium is fed by a varying number of radial canals or afferent canals. It opens to the outside through a small pore in the organism's body surface. Electron microscopy has revealed that the bounding membrane of the contractile vacuole is a lipoprotein membrane, similar to the cell membrane. Mechanism of osmoregulation. The function of contractile vacuole is hydrostatic or osmoregulatory. Water in freshwater protozoans enters the organism by endosmosis and during feeding. The reason is that cytoplasm of a freshwater protozoan represents a medium denser than surrounding water, and outermost plasma lemma or pellicle acts as a semi-permeable membrane. Thus, water continuously flows inside to dilute the cytoplasm. If the organism does not possess a mechanism to get rid of this excess water, it will swell to the point of rupture and dissolution. The mechanism which is assumed to effect water regulation is the contractile vacuole. The vacuole periodically increases in volume. This process is called as the diastole to get filled with water and contracts. This contraction is called as systole to discharge its water content to the surrounding environment. But the exact mechanism of its working is little understood. Different theories have been put forth to explain the functioning of a contractile vacuole. These theories are the osmotic theory, the filtration theory, and the secretion theory. The osmotic theory. According to this theory, water from cytoplasm enters the contractile vacuole by osmosis. Next is the filtration theory. According to this theory, hydrostatic pressure forces water through vacuolar membrane. But this theory cannot be applied to the working of contractile vacuole, as it is only connected to outside medium at systole. Thus, internal hydrostatic pressure could not be relieved by filtration of fluid into the vacuole, since the total volume within the limiting cell membrane would not be reduced. The third theory is the secretion theory. This theory holds that water is actively secreted into vacuoles during diastole through the vacuolar wall. This theory is most widely accepted. Systole and diastole are attributed to the contractile nature of the vacuole's wall, that is, the contraction and expansion of the contractile vacuole depends on the functioning of the vacuolar wall. Thank you.